Hi everyone, welcome to the second B2B frontrunner session. While everyone enters this session, we will start with some of the latest news, and we will start with the first news article that we brought for today. That's the EU Digital Market Act. The Digital Market Act is a set of rules for the gatekeepers that are really powerful in the digital world, to be considered as a powerful company. So the gatekeepers, you have three criteria. You need to have at least 45 million active users in a specific area. Another criteria is that you have made more than 7.5 billion revenue in the last 3 years, and that your company is worth more than 75 billion in the stock market. For now, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, Meta and Microsoft are the 6 gatekeepers that are in the Digital Market Act. And if we talk about the Digital Market Act, what are the rules that apply for those 6 gatekeepers? The key provisions of the Digital Market Act that applies to the core platform services include a ban on self-preferencing or requiring business users to make use of their own services. So, for example, the gatekeepers can stop other apps. They can prevent other companies from offering and promoting services that they compete with theirs. And they also have to share information about how people use their platform with other businesses. The idea behind all of this is to make sure that there's a fair competition on the big digital platforms, which should create new chances for other companies to compete on a level playing field. Today we are emphasizing platforms as well. So I think that this is a very good development in the EU. We are very pleased to have 104 members on the Intershop portal. And if you haven't done so, I would like you to ask to further complete your profile on the portal. In this way, you can come into contact with each other. Further discussions can be held, and we share a lot of news into the portal. One of those news items that we have shared in the last week is the Amazon and Shopify integration. Amazon and Shopify announced a significant integration that will allow Shopify's merchants to offer the Buy with Prime on their Shopify stores. The Buy with Prime feature allows the consumers the option to purchase with the Buy with Prime option. That means that they can choose their payment in their Amazon wallet and make use of their Amazon fulfillment network. Amazon will release an app that allows US merchants who use the Amazon's fulfillment network the option to add the Buy with Prime and to make use of the Buy with Prime options. Again, welcome. Very excited to welcome you all to the second B2B frontrunner session. I think it will be a very great session, lots of topics. The session is centered around chapter 4 of the white paper, and it's all about platforms and harnessing the potential of platforms in the B2B e-commerce. We have a full program today with many speakers. We will start with a topic introduction by customer journey experts. This is followed by a case of Fenego, Achieve and IGO Promo, in which the transformation of IGO Promo is discussed. Musgrave will tell us something about how they can offer an extended range of products. Toolineo will explain the latest developments of their tool, and we finish with two Intershop experts who will explain the role of the Intershop platform. And I will hand over to Arjen, who will give an introduction on the topic, on the role of platforms and marketplaces, and he will also zoom in on the role of Amazon in the B2B e-commerce.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for your introduction. I will kick off with, as soon as I can click my slides, I will kick off with the introduction. Oh, this is, sorry. We're going to start with, this topic is platforms and marketplaces, as is in chapter 4 of our discussion paper, what the leaders in B2B are talking about. And actually, if we discuss marketplaces or platforms, it is quite diffuse what is this distinction between them all, and we are working in a space with very much change going on. And if you look at the definition of a marketplace, that's a commerce site that connects merchant with consumers. But more important than the definition is what the impact is. What we see is that over 50% of total e-commerce turnover is generated in marketplaces. And if you then zoom in on that, then you see that the marketplaces, the top 100 of marketplaces, even are good for an astonishing amount of turnover. And if you further zoom in on the B2B developments, then you see that the predictions of the commerce driven through platforms and marketplaces is expected to grow with double-digit figures in the next couple of years. And that growth is driven by the fact that buyers who start using those platforms are doing increasingly more of their business online. And 60% of the buyers are conducting more than a quarter of their total purchase volume in these marketplaces. And that's not all. They are expecting the same kind of quality of service as B2C users experience as they are in their private lives. That's also the reason why we look at the historical evolution of e-commerce. To understand what happens in the B2B market sphere, you can look at what happened in the consumer e-commerce environment. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to rewind the movie and come do this step back in time to understand what B2B will be facing in the next couple of years. In the B2C environment, you've had those small stores at the bottom row of your of this slide, and there was the wholesale in the middle that aggregated the volume of all those producers. Brands took a stance on creating a brand to be better visible in those retail environments, but still doing their business through these wholesale. But then there was an aggregation of small stores in department stores and in grocers, and they aggregated that volume and started cutting out the wholesale parties, doing directly business with merchants, with producers and brands. Not only that, then producers started selling directly. Think of the ones like IKEA, like Hennes & Mauritz, like Zara and as one of the Inditex formats. They started directly selling to consumers, not even bother about the wholesale structure. And brands also entered that market space. And in the 70s, 80s of last century, all the major brands started opening up their stores, their Armani stores, their Gucci and the Burberry stores in the luxury end, but also Rituals in the more mainstream part. So what we saw was a definite change in the marketplace, and then internet happened. And internet merchants started doing business online. And the major difference there was that they, by definition, knew who their customers were. So they started from a starting point that they didn't have the legacy of the traditional players, but did develop right from the start the database marketing capabilities. And rather successful. Not only they grew, reluctantly all the retailers and all the brands had to open their own stores. But there were some very successful online players, and they heavily invested, even in times of declining sales or the burst of the internet bubble. They invested in their infrastructure and in their data capabilities. And with success, they kept on growing. And what they also did is they opened up their platforms to all the traditional retailers, the brands, and all the other ones, to extend their range and to offer huge assortments and offering their customers, their B2B customers, enormous reach in customers. But their objective was not solely generating more sales, it was also to actually capture the data of their customers. I've lost sight. Ik zie niks meer. I'm sorry. Okay, here we are. And they grew bigger, and they came the inevitable party. And only some new niche players, and these are just a few as an illustration, were able to compete with the quality of the platform just by looking at the niche where the platform in itself wasn't able to really compete. So this is the development in B2C, where you see the enormous dominance of platforms, and especially the technical capabilities. All the platforms we know today are not retailers per se. Actually, they're tech companies with an extreme customer focus. It happened again. Peter. Je moet hem even doorklikken. Sorry, we're having a little timeout in equipment, so we have a technical issue here. So, those platforms are getting very dominant. Yeah, they here. And that's also what we sorry for the inconvenience, we've got some technical issues here. That's what we, in the Amazon article we recently published, are talking about. And why is the development at Amazon so incredibly important? And Peter touched upon it with the EU Act that is also tapping into that market dominance. But what actually does Amazon do? How do they change the rules in B2B? And just for the clear understanding, within 6 years' time, they have grown from 1 billion to 36 billion. I wish I would have had that as a startup, but not everybody's as lucky as Amazon. So they make a tremendous growth. And how do they do that? They do that by incorporating the B2C functionalities they have created in the traditional environment. And if you look here at what they actually do, this is a B2B page, product page. And it contains all the stimuli people experience in their B2C life. And you may not like it from a design perspective, but if you look at the elements, when you last bought it, the product reviews, the subtle price promotions, all the incentives they offer and all the stimuli they do so well in B2C are integrated in this B2B environment. And not only on the site, also in their app. It's always when did you buy it? When do you want to buy it again? Do you want to reschedule your purchase? And if you zoom in on that functionality, you can see that that's not just reorder or schedule your reorder. You've got full control as a user at the moment where you get it redelivered. And if you want one reminder or more reminders, this is typically what Amazon does in its B2C, giving customers control, adapting to behavior, and stimulate a seamless experience in that. And that's also what they do in the extension in B2B. What you see on the shelves is scales. So they measure the weight of the stock items, and you can adjust or instantly reorder that based on the criteria you set yourself. And just like they state, you're in control. And in B2B, actually, they enhanced the number of functionalities they had in B2C. And all of this is extremely well personalized. What they also do is that they integrate their Prime loyalty system into their overall B2B program, and it is linked to your personal Prime. They also incorporated in the value chain where they offer people to enlarge their income by being a pickup or distribution point. And now all of that is coming to Europe as well, just like they did with their e-commerce business. They are now bringing this to America, but they do this for a reason. Here you see what people are, the amount of the cut of sales Amazon takes from its customers, its B2B client. That is, of course, the listing fee, but it is also the logistics component, and it's also advertising. So it is for good reason that the EU is acting upon those big players, because if you look at what Amazon actually does in terms of revenue, you see it's a fast growth of the amount of kickback they get from their suppliers. But they also do it for another reason, and that is that consumer and data perspective. If you look in this graph at the top right hand side, there you see what Amazon, what the quality of Amazon is on a user experience index. The gray dots, by the way, is the rest of the market. And Amazon outperforms them on the level of interaction quality, the level of channel integration, and the size of that dot is the level of personalization. So what do you need from a strategic perspective if this is what is going to happen? And actually that Amazon is doing with B2B what they did with the B2C market, becoming very dominant in a very fast pace of time. And in this market, this B2B market, you see a lot of different developments. The fragmentation has always been there, but will only increase. So parties, and these are just some examples, have to find a niche. You're probably not going to compete with Amazon in its core of its reach and the lowest price and the best-in-class service. You probably won't have the means to do that. So you have to determine what part of the market you are entering into. And we're not at the end of these developments. If you see what happens in the B2C space in terms of combining the migration from pure players into platform style, look at what, I don't know if you've recently been at Hennes & Mauritz. Hennes & Mauritz is not only selling its Hennes & Mauritz items anymore, they actually are pursuing a digital marketplace strategy. So if you look at what happens at the B2C side, those developments will also happen in the B2B side. So all of you have to decide what you want to be. What is your role in the value chain? What is your place in the marketplace? Do you be one? Do you want to become one? Do you work with them? Or do you want to beat them? And the frightening bit is, and that is where all of us should convince the leadership in the B2B companies, is that it requires, whatever strategy you follow, it requires a huge investment. And here you can't afford to be penny-wise and pound-foolish. All of the companies that want to survive have to invest in a proper infrastructure, in data, in technology, and in a priority in their governance to invest in these developments in order to keep up with what becomes the new standard in B2B, and that is being set by Amazon. So the big question today is, where do you want to go in this dynamic world? And that's where we have a very interesting lineup, as Peter already mentioned. We got IGO Promo, who from a catalog becomes a platform, and they will tell about their advertising and content strategy to reinforce that. We've got Musgraves that will tell you about how their extended range strategy is part of their business concept. With Toolineo, who will discuss what it takes to build all those capabilities. And of course, we've got Intershop, who will explain a little bit about the technology that is needed. So I wish you lots of pleasure with all the speakers, and it was just a brief introduction. And if you want to have any more information on it or want to discuss strategy matters, please reach out, and we're always there to help you. Peter, take it away.
Thank you, Arjen. A wonderful presentation, even though it was not so smooth here in the studio. I would like to hand over to Carlo, Nina, and Jens from Fenego, AdChief, and IGO Promo to tell you more about the successful IGO Promo's transformation. And I will hand over to Carlo.
Yes, thanks a lot for the introduction. Like I already mentioned, we set a transformation in a couple of years ago, where we saw that as a promotional reseller of promotional items, we were competing with a lot of e-commerce driven companies, and we really were lacking behind those e-commerce companies. We decided that something had to change. We really needed to create a sustainable e-commerce model that fits the modern day, and that also fits the growing needs of our customers. And that path we set in about 4 years ago, together with an entirely new team. We onboarded a team of digital experts that were all very specialized in their own fields. Of course, we also implemented a lot of new tools, and even had to create some tools ourselves, since we are working in a very specialized branch. We are printing logos and text on existing products, so we really need to have a lot of data points and a lot of custom-made tools in order to drive that online marketing journey. We had to create a lot of in-depth reporting in order to make sure that we have the fitting data and the correct data to match with our customers, but also to make the correct business decisions based on those data points. We automated a lot of workflows to make sure that we are scalable and we do not need to grow in numbers, but we can actually do more together with the same team. We also automated a lot of our campaigns and make sure that we are also very sustainable on a marketing perspective. And finally, we also made sure that we rebranded our entire platform to also fit the more modern customer. Like already mentioned, the customer wants a modern B2C driven experience. And we can also offer that on our B2B platform. And with each implementation, we grew one step closer to the new IGO Promo, which I'm proud to say is standing tall and is really thriving at the moment. To make sure that we can keep growing, we implemented, like already mentioned, a lot of new tools, both from a marketing perspective, but also from a technical perspective. All the tools can be shown here that we basically call our mothership. It involves a lot of new systems, like we changed our ERP system, we implemented our own PIM system. We onboarded Achieve, which Nina is going to talk to you a bit more in a few minutes. And all those components are driving our e-commerce model at the moment. And today we're going to talk to you about some of those components, which we think are very special and are pretty interesting to look at. First, we want to look at our PIM system that we are using to onboard and scale up our assortment in a very efficient way. And we also want to talk about Tweakwise, which we use in order to make sure the customer can find all the products that we are onboarding. Like already mentioned, a few years ago, we were solely a catalog platform. We had about 1,500 items from our sister company, Clipper, who operates in the same group. But we noticed that we were very dependent on that one supplier, and we needed to make sure that we can onboard items fast, efficiently, but we also need to be able to manage that data ourselves, because we think that we are the experts. We already have about 75 years of expertise within this branch. So that is actually what our customers are coming to us for. So we created our own PIM system based on Oracle Apex. And in that PIM system, we created a lot of custom workflows, a lot of custom data models that will make sure that we can onboard assortment fast, efficient, without having to scale up in numbers, so in FTEs. And then also a big difference that might be cool to mention is that we are in control of our own data, of our own content, of our own pricing, and we decide ultimately what gets offered on that platform. So we ultimately can alter all the content, we create our own sales prices, and then we push it to our Intershop platform to be able for the customer to buy it. So when we started in 2020 with this transition, we had about 1,500 active items. All items had to manually be created. We needed to update our purchase prices manually. We needed to create sales prices manually, which resulted in not updating our sales margins for over 2 years. There were no workflows to translate, let's say, supplier data to our own data model, but also there were no workflows to, let's say, translate content from Dutch to German. We had zero to no insights in our actual margins. It was always a surprise what our margins would be at the end of the month. And we had to manually categorize all of our products. But when you look now, 3 years later, we have about 12,000 active items. So we grew our assortment with over 800%. Almost all of our product and pricing updates are being done via API, XML, or the old school Excel files. So there's no more manual interventions in the PIM system by our product managers anymore. We have a lot of workflows running to translate supplier data to our own IGO referable data. But also we have a lot of processes in place to make sure that, let's say, Dutch text gets automatically translated to French content, which a local marketer can easily manage from their own cockpit. Based on all those algorithms, about thousands of price changes are also being run every day to make sure we get to an ultimate margin proposition, but also turnover-wise, we can hit our targets. We created detailed margin reports based on all that master data that we have in PIM. Like mentioned, we have purchase prices there, sales prices, and we can generate a lot of data from those data sets. And we have automated categorization based on certain business rules, so we can make sure that all the products that are automatically onboarded can be put into the right baskets all the time and can also have their own correct pricing proposition based on our benchmarking that we continuously do. So like I mentioned, we created our own PIM system that made sure that we can grow about 800% in a few years. We implemented API and XML connection to third-party suppliers. We have about 80 different suppliers at the moment, but previously we had about, let's say, 10 suppliers that we needed to manually adjust all the time. We created import modules and workflows to easily update and maintain all those data points. And we implemented business rules and classifications to make sure we can automate and optimize as much of that assortment, but also on the pricing perspective, as much as possible. So that is about scaling up the assortment, but just as important as scaling up is making sure that our customers are able to find what they are looking for on our e-commerce platform. So that's why we onboarded Tweakwise a couple of years ago as our merge and search indicing tool. So that algorithm that we developed within Tweakwise is consisting about, let's say, 15 data points that both are custom-made attributes, but also SQL queries. We have a lot of analytics data flowing in. And with all those data points, we created a self-regulating model that will always make sure that the most relevant items get on top of the either search results or category results, and also gets put down at the end of the page when one of the criteria is not met. Let's say a product gets out of stock, it will automatically be put at the end of the category to make sure that the customer is only looking at products that are in stock first. And by that model, we see that conversion is really thriving on our platform. We also configured hundreds of custom up and cross-sell rules to make sure that we also steer our customer to preferred items that we actually like to sell, where we know lead times are good, complaint ratios are low, but also, of course, margin is a very important key factor for us. And with those components, we also drive a very sustainable business model. And at the end, we just want to make sure that our customer always can find a fitting item, even though our assortment grew at 800%. It only gets easier to look for the item that you're looking for. So that is basically the thing on our product assortment. Now I'd like to give the floor to Nina, who's going to talk about our advertising.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Nina, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Achieve and the partnership that we have with IGO Promo. Just to briefly introduce Achieve. Achieve is a PPC tool that allows advertisers to successfully advertise on pay-per-click environments. But in a sense, we are a data science company with expertise in online advertising and data connections to help entrepreneurs in getting grip on performance. Achieve is offering a few different services focusing on e-commerce companies and companies active in online travel. A few of our clients are, for example, IGO Promo, of course, but also MediaMarkt, Decathlon, Bax Music, Hornbach, and in travel vertical, and one of our most important clients is TUI. The services we are offering are focused on Google Search, Google Shopping, and Performance Max. And in travel, we offer solutions to Google Search services for Google Hotel Ads and meta search environments such as Trivago and TripAdvisor. We offer a unique solution that stands out from other tools because Achieve is developed by and with industry leaders. So within Achieve itself are top experts working with both backgrounds in online marketing and data science. And we work intensively with development partners. So on this slide, on the left side, you see what we call our powerful flywheel, the wheel of success, existing of the three modules that we are offering. The first one is Achieve Connect, which is our feed management tool. The second module is Achieve Automation, which is our advertising automation tool. And the third one is Achieve Insights, which is our data science insights tool. And yeah, together they form the wheel of success, because by enriching feeds through the Connect module with valuable insights, we can build and create powerful campaigns. A few examples. Now, through the Insights module, we know what the best-selling products are. We can use that data to enrich the feed through Connect, through the Connect module, to then include more relevant site links and price extensions. But also through Insights, we know which categories and brands and products are important and lead to the highest revenue and margins. And based on that, a client can determine the best asset groups to apply within Performance Max. Profitable growth and getting grip on profitability is one of the main goals that Achieve is helping you achieving. As Achieve, we are constantly improving our products and services, tailoring them to the needs of our clients and responding to market trends. There are services that we therefore also give extra priority to. There are services that we deploy on only a limited base. But on this slide, a few of our main services are summed up that we have explored with IGO Promo. But unfortunately, due to the time limitation during this presentation, I will zoom in a little bit more on one of our core services, which is the Insights module. And the Insights module, with the Insights module, we give clients like IGO Promo insights into which campaigns are profitable and contribute the most to the client's goals. We have an advertisement page in the Insight module in the Achieve tool. And via that page, you gain insights on profit level per advertisement, insights in POAS instead of ROAS only, in order to determine the net margin you retain per advertisement. Let's dive a little bit more into the partnership that we have with IGO Promo and the projects that we have been running lately. With Achieve, IGO Promo quickly has set up large-scale Performance Max campaigns, and we easily split products in shopping into asset groups and created dynamically text assets. But also through Achieve, IGO Promo can dynamically include keyword signals with specific keyword signals for each asset group based on their feed. And furthermore, IGO Promo uses the Achieve Asset Group Optimizer, which is a tool developed by Achieve to determine which are the most important asset groups to push to Google. And based on those insights, you can specifically optimize asset groups within asset groups. But during this presentation, we really wanted to highlight one of the most important components of Achieve's platform for IGO Promo, which are the cross and upsell effects, which is also part of the Insights module as well. Let's briefly explain the definition of cross-sell and upsell. By cross-sell, we mean that you're selling a different product than the one you're advertising with. And by upsell, we mean you're selling another product in addition to the product you're advertising with. Because compared to other systems, we do not assume that the product that you advertise on is also the product you will sell always. You may be selling a different product with a completely different margin. Achieve shows you in our dashboard, which ads lead to which sales. And in the case of Google Shopping, it's indeed definitely not always the case that the product you advertise is also the product you sell. In reality, actually, we see examples where in 60% of the cases, a different product is sold than the one you advertise on. And that's quite interesting to see, I would say. These insights are really valuable. It teaches you which products are important in your assortment, even though you may not sell them that much. They possibly attract customers who end up buying other products. It will also teach you which products may need to be priced extra competitively in order to rank well in Google Shopping. A competitive price may then even mean that the impact on your sales margin is small if you're actually selling different products than what you're advertising with. So you also see which part of the assortment leads to interesting additional sales. For IGO Promo, we use these cross and upsell insights to learn more about which products are commonly purchased together, which information was then used to enrich the feed for showing recommended products. And this way, you can utilize data science insights to always showcase the most relevant options and to push the most relevant products. Except the cross and upsell insights, we also provide IGO Promo with market share insights, which is a very unique service offered by Achieve. With market share insights, we collect a large amount of information for IGO Promo, and we turn that data into insights for IGO Promo, which they can use in a few different ways. For example, to give them the ability to optimize campaigns directly, but also it shows them how they are performing against the competition, and it provides them with inspiration about trending products or trending titles. And at last, and as a result of all of these profit insights and cross-sell insights we have gained, IGO Promo has been able to generate an uplift in profitability, leading to more effective campaign management. And we are really happy and proud to have been able to achieve these results together. And if you're interested to learning more about Achieve, please don't hesitate to contact me after this presentation.
Thanks a lot, Nina. Right now, I think it's good to also dive into our e-commerce platform, which is, of course, the heart of our business. We are situated on Intershop, and together with Fenego, our technical partner, we have did a lot of optimizations on our existing platform, but we also have a lot of things in the pipeline for the future, which Jens from Fenego is going to talk to you about.
Yes, thank you, Carlo, for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure for me today. I'm Jens van Al, and I serve as the functional lead at Fenego. I'm excited to discuss our long-standing partnership with IGO Promo, spanning for almost a decade. As you may know, in a highly competitive market such as the promotional products and business gifts, staying ahead of the competition demands swift adaptation to market dynamics, something in which Fenego plays a strong role in supporting IGO Promo as a platinum Intershop partner. At the heart of our partnership lies our core commitment, stabilizing and optimizing the e-commerce environment through our development capabilities. The Intershop platform already serves as an invaluable foundation, not only for IGO Promo to achieve their goals, but also for Achieve, the company then, to base their advertisements upon. However, the unique needs and aspirations of IGO Promo often call for a tailor-made solution, and that is where our specialized custom development comes into play. Additionally, we also actively monitor and maintain the health and performance of the e-commerce platforms. That's because the moment a web page takes more than a mere second to load, or doesn't even load at all, customers will abandon ship. And this need for speed isn't just a preference, it's a non-negotiable expectation that businesses must meet in order to thrive in the digital age. And that's something that IGO Promo fully understands, and that's why we're absolutely on top of it. Beyond our strong coding skills and technical support, IGO Promo and Fenego often align about the business objectives and aspirations. And this alignment enables Fenego to further advise and contribute to the realization of their strategic roadmap and long-term vision. And that has resulted in the following roadmap. First of all, since Intershop remains the chosen platform to realize this roadmap, a migration to 7.10 is coming up. This will strengthen the harnessed power of IGO Promo's data on one hand, and Achieve's functionality on the other hand even more, and in the meantime allows IGO Promo to expand to additional countries within Europe. Within the next 3 years, IGO Promo will transition towards an headless environment with API-driven commerce in order to adapt even faster to market changes. And last but not least, the final step in this roadmap involves a more extensive rollout of the composable architecture, enabling the interchangeability of all components, making it easy to interchange components in the architecture which no longer suit IGO Promo's needs. With this setup, they plan on integrating a separate content management system, a CMS, of which I believe Contentful is the most popular one at the moment. That's also the reason why we as Fenego are currently in the process of building a Contentful vector for Intershop. And I'd love to tell more about it, but that will be for another frontrunner session.
Thanks a lot, Jens. So in the end, all those tools, Edgy, Finego, resulted in some of our, in the growth of some of our core KPIs. We doubled our online turnover versus 2019 when you look at the 2022 results, which is really a very, very great objective for a business that is running for that long. Like said, we onboarded over 10,000 new items. Most of them are being from third-party suppliers. And last year, about 40% of our turnover was being realized via third-party suppliers, so via a marketplace model. Also, together with Tweakwise and being able to navigate our customer to the right product, we increased our average order value with about 13.5%. And together with Achieve, we increased our ROAS with over 450% based on the 2019 results. And at the end, it's all about scalability from an operational perspective as well. And basically, everything we do from the online perspective is being managed by the same amount of people, of which we did it with 3 years ago. So that really is a great KPI to also monitor from an operational perspective. And that is basically the story of our transformation over the last 4 years.
Thanks, Carlo, Nina, and Jens for this wonderful presentation. It's now time for the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please send them in the chat. I've got the first question in the chat already. Carlo, that's from Julia. How did you do the automated categorization? Did you do that with business rules? Or do you have any KY in use? So how did you do that?
Yeah, basically we created a grid of our entire assortment, and we did a lot of benchmarking of how items were being offered in the market by our competitors. We did a benchmark on our purchase prices and our own margins, which we can then lay on the competitor pricing. And based on all those rules, we categorized our products, and we created different segments within all categories to make sure that we can offer within each country, within each category, but also on every supplier, a very competitive and optimized pricing model, let's say, that will automatically be mapped to the right categories and the right components in our own assortment. And we benchmark that segment pretty frequently to make sure that we stay ahead of the competition, and we are also still in line with our business goals, but also still in line with our competition. So basically, categorize everything yourself, look at the competition, look at your baseline of data, and let's see if you can connect certain segments, certain categories, and go from there. And then it gets you get a pretty clear overview.
Thanks for the extensive answer. I hope, Julia, that your question is answered. And I've got a question from Arjen, who is in the studio as well, for Carlo.
Hi, Carlo. A very interesting story, great achievements. If you would have to describe what it has been in the past year, your greatest challenge, was it the technology or was it the organization to get in all of this working, but also get enough resources, enough money to make it all happen? What was the biggest challenge you faced in that respect?
I think the biggest challenge was to actually get the right data sets in from both offline sales, but also several other departments which worked way more traditional within the organization, and to make sure that that will all fit our online model, and we can also send back all those data sets towards our online platform and make sure that we use that data in the correct way, and we all understand the data in the same way, and we all look at the data the same way, and make sure everything and everyone is aligned to make sure that we all go into the same direction, we all monitor on the same KPIs. I think that was absolutely the biggest challenge.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. And if you look ahead at the future, what is the biggest challenge you're facing for the next couple of years, Carlo?
I think it will be very interesting to expand to other markets, like Jens already mentioned. When we update our e-commerce model once more and we create an even more flexible and more agile technical environment, I think it will be very interesting to see how we can enroll this model that we've now set in the countries that we were already active in other countries, and also see what challenges will come from that as well. I'm really excited to, and also really curious to see how that will go in the future.
Very exciting developments, Carlo. Thank you again for the presentation. Also, thanks to Nina and Jens once again. And I would like to hand over to Musgrave, to Niall, who will explain a little bit more about extending their product range on the Musgrave environment.
Yep, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Niall Mullally. I'm head of digital CX at Musgrave Wholesale. I'm going to share with you our journey of digital transformation. So I'm going to try and share the approach we took, where that has led us. Hopefully there's some interesting insights in it, that are relevant to you and relevant to your business. So the first thing to share really is who are Musgrave. So we would describe ourselves as a food and beverage business. So we are a wholesaler, and we operate in the areas of food service, grocery, food, retail. We've a small element of our business, directly with SMEs, and we also have an on-trade business dealing directly with pubs and. In 2020, we started a journey of digital transformation. The decision to do so was based on some industry trends and wider move towards digital and feedback from customers and what they want, how they wanted to order with us. There are also strategic opportunities from moving to a mainly digital focused method of order capture. One of the key ones there for us was the ability to incorporate a marketplace model into what we do. So we call this marketplace our extended range. Our B2B wholesale brand is actually called Musgrave Marketplace. So we use extended range for what would normally be called the marketplace feature. So in 2020, we set out a vision of what we wanted to achieve. That's what's here on the slide. So we set out that we would transform Musgrave Marketplace into a digital B2B one-stop shop, allowing our customers to buy every product or service they require to run their business. And that's underpinned by our brand essence, which is to be first for choice, service, and value. So, at the very start of this process, we spoke to customers about what was important to them. We wanted to minimize the disruption from the move to digital, and we wanted to maximize the value we generate for customers. So from that work, we established 5 key points, which were the most important things for our customers. These 5 points have been the basis of everything we've done for the last 3 years. So the first item customers, gave us as important to them was, can I trust it? So for customers, that means, is the product information right? Is my bespoke pricing, because we would have bespoke pricing for each customer, is my bespoke pricing correct? Are your promotions accurate? Is the stock level accurate? Really fundamental things for a customer, and can they trust that in the platform? Then the customers told us they cared about, can I get what I want when I want it? So is there a large range available? Is it deliverable to my location? And when is it deliverable to my location? And will it arrive when the platform tells me it will arrive? Next, they called it value. So the industry we operate in, particularly in the challenge of the last 3 years in food service and retail, value is a key battleground. So the customer wants to be sure that they're getting the best value that they can, and have called that out, as something really important. Fourth, they spoke about, does it make my life easier? So all our customers are trying to run businesses, some of them very large businesses, some of them very small. And what they want to know is, will ordering with Musgrave help to keep that process for them as simple as possible. So we're talking about something now that's much harder to quantify and measure, but is equally important to the customer. Can we make this easy for them? And kind of, you know, remove that idea that they have to work or they have to think to do this. Lastly, they called out, are we helping them to grow their business? Which is not something we maybe would have thought about before as part of our remit or what they would care about. But what they meant by that is, are we providing inspiration for products they should stock or menus they should create in their business? And when you step back and think about it, like for us, obviously for everyone, our customers' business success is key to our own. And what they highlighted to us was that this digital transformation and the move to capturing orders essentially digitally had to drive that for them. So what we took from those 5 things basically was, we stepped back and said, okay, the way we look at this or think about this, there's probably 3 basic things here that we need to make sure we get right, that we really need to nail, you know, these kind of solid basics. So we needed to bring our content and commerce together. So before this project, this digital transformation, we had separate brand and marketing sites, and we had a very basic reorder website, but they were all entirely separate. We had to address, you know, to address what the customers were calling out as important. That was one thing that very obviously needed to change. We needed to get all our product information into a central location. We needed to enable the easy addition of new products outside of our range, you know, including products that we wouldn't necessarily be able to stock in our facilities. And we needed tools to make this larger product set accessible to customers. So that's through really accurate kind of browse and search functionality. And then we needed a way to monitor what was happening. So we needed to ensure that the assumptions we've made are correct, and that our actions in delivering the desired outcomes, our actions are delivering the desired outcomes for customers. We needed a way of tracking against that. So we set these out as the 3 kind of, you know, these are the basics that we're going to look to try and solve. So, you know, in the kind of long and short of it, what does all of that actually mean? What did we actually do? So we simplified the user experience. So we moved from 17 different websites down to 1. We had a separate website for every one of our depots, and we had a separate website for collect and delivery. So we simplified that down to 1 website. We prioritized search functionality. So we integrated Elasticsearch into our Intershop instance. We incorporated into the project a product information management platform in the form of Stebo as a PIM. We integrated directly into our existing ERP system to provide customers real-time stock information, further enhancements like back-in-stock notifications. We linked in with that real-time stock information, which customers were calling out as part of that key. Can they trust and rely on what's there? We changed how we manage customer support. So we created 1 central team for queries coming through digital that simplified that whole process. There wasn't a different one for account queries and product queries. We created 1 unified team as part of this digital transformation. We provided the tools then for customers to self-serve. So, for example, we give them access to financial and account information directly in the platform. There's tools there for them to manage the spend of other users on their account, you know, really to kind of move the emphasis onto the customer to be able to serve, you know, when and how they wanted to. All of this was tied together in what was initially a kind of tailored or segmented experience. So we have very distinct groups of customers. We tailored the content to those groups initially. So this was the kind of simple act of retail products and retail content for retail customers, and food service products and food service content pushed for food service customers. So we're now in the stage where we're starting to move on from that again. So we're now pushing that on again by starting to integrate a full recommendation engine. So for example, we are adding prompts to customers like, you know, products that customers like you are ordering, or products that customers order alongside the products that you currently have in your cart. And then we're also looking at replenishment journeys. So for example, you normally order a product from us every 6 weeks. Now, a lot of our customers might order from us just by the nature of the relationship 3 to 4 times a week. But there's particular things that they order at particular intervals. So we're tracking that now and planning to prompt them with, you know, you ordered this 6 weeks ago, it's now been 5.5 weeks, and we expect you're going to need this in the next week or so. So trying to make that kind of interruption really useful for a customer. So with all of that in place, then what we've tried to do then is use those, you know, the 5 kind of points that the customers are highlighting and the features that we've added to the site to focus on the kind of key e-commerce tasks as we see them. So that is onboarding our customers, converting them once they're on our site, and then retaining them, and looking at that as a loop, or a digital loop of how we engage with customers. So for onboarding, whether that's migrating existing customers from offline to online or registering entirely new customers, we focus in on forming that habit of ordering through digital. So we identify customers who have registered with us but haven't ordered. We identify those that have ordered initially but have stopped, and we intervene at those points. So we find, or what we found since the launch of the platform, is this kind of key habit formation is at around 5 orders. So if we really focus in and handhold someone to 5 orders through the digital platform, that habit is formed, and they stay and they continue to do that again. They form the habit of ordering with us. On conversion then, so we focus on encouraging customers when we have them on the site to build bigger baskets. I know it sounds very simple and straightforward, but kind of building that into everything we do is helping us drive up that average order value. So we then try and make sure that every single basket created actually works its way through the checkout and becomes an order. So we have this idea of a checkout walk, which is we interrupt the customer with relevant, useful additions to constantly push and upsell the basket to be, slightly bigger than their previous basket or slightly bigger than what they have in the checkout at the moment. So the examples there would be, we have tools like Switch and Save, which compares brands against our own brand lines and tries to push those higher margin lines into the basket. We highlight volume discounts, like when lines are cheaper by the case. So if they buy more of a particular product, it will actually work out cheaper. And we show them missed promotions. So if someone has a 2 for 3 or 3 for 2 in the basket and they haven't actually triggered it properly, we highlight that on the checkout and kind of push them through to try and upsell those products. The aim then is that we close out this loop. If we've met the 5 things that they've told us are important, we're confident then that this loop kind of closes itself by ensuring the customers' 5 concerns are met. They continue to order from us and they fall back around into the cycle again. So that's really been the kind of transformation in our business to work in this kind of e-commerce and digital first way. And then I kind of mentioned at the start, one of the reasons for moving to this then was the strategic changes we could make once we had gotten to this kind of foundation. And the main one now that we're focused on is extended range. So with all of the processes and things I've mentioned in place, we're now focused on this extended range concept. So we have built the marketplace platform into Intershop. So part of our digital transformation was this move to Intershop as our e-commerce platform. And we have built into that, using Miracle as a marketplace platform, a Musgrave marketplace essentially. So we're now onboarding suppliers, educating our customers on how this model works. We're at the very early stages of products live and customers ordering, but we are seeing encouraging growth in that area from extended range. And for us, I mean, we're focused on extending in categories to make that kind of category wider, so that these are products that we wouldn't have volume to hold, enough volume of sales to hold in our core range. We're also working with existing suppliers to take on their full range, but we're also then working with niche suppliers to take them on when we couldn't deal with those kind of smaller suppliers at all due to the scale that Musgrave operated with on the island of Ireland. We're entering new categories doing this at very low risk. So we can move into areas that Musgrave traditionally wouldn't stock product. We can test it with customers. We can move on very quickly if it's not a product that takes off. And we can look as well to potentially move something into core if it does. We've set up rules around pricing with these suppliers, so we keep this marketplace kind of competitive to the pricing outside of our marketplace. And on the whole, extended range is actually a stronger margin offering for Musgrave than our core range. So it's a very exciting kind of area for us to move into. So, that is our journey to date. I mean, the story we're trying to sell or trying to show is that we started very customer focused. We put the basics in place, and that's given us license now to move into this space with confidence. That we're very excited by where it will take us to next. So that's the upgrade from Musgrave.
Thanks, Niall, for your presentation. I think there's a lot of development going on and even more to come. I've got a question from Arjen here.
Hi, Niall. Thank you very much for your fantastic story. I find the Musgrave case very interesting because it's so embedded in your business philosophy. Just a question, your first slide said digital transformation, but given your story, wouldn't it be more a customer centricity transformation you're going through? Because the biggest part of your story was, well, simplify the life and the process for your customer. Is that true that this digital development also stimulates customer centricity in your regular operation?
Yes, it is. I mean, Musgrave will be a very customer-focused business anyway, and I suppose we call it digital transformation because the gap that was there was really in digital skill sets in the business and digital tools for customers. So it would have been a very customer-centric business anyway, and I suppose the transformation in the last 3 years has been to add those digital skill sets and those digital tools and maintain that customer centricity then across the board. We've definitely had a big amount of business change included in digital transformation. So it hasn't just been a case of moving customers to order differently. We have had to change certain things. So you're probably right to some extent that there's, like I mentioned, simplifying our whole customer care setup. The digital transformation project drove that. But I don't think it's a change to become customer centric. It's really just moving the customer centric way that we work into areas that we hadn't done before, because it was really not a native digital business maybe 5-10 years ago, and this project has kind of pushed it in that way.
Okay, thank you for your clear answer. I think you're a very interesting case of becoming customer centric and data driven, and maybe that sums up what you already what you stated. So great, exciting developments, and a wonderful case.
Thanks, Niall, and we move over to Toolineo. Hendrik, I would ask you to explain more about the latest developments on the Toolineo website.
Yes, hello everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. Just 2 sentences about myself. Hendrik Sassmann, I'm Managing Director of Toolineo. We are a pure online marketplace in Germany. I'll explain a few things just right now, and have been in retail and consumer goods for 20 years, and have been with Toolineo for the last 8 years, right from the very start. And I'm very happy to share with you what we are currently doing with Intershop. It's a mammoth project that we started in April, and basically I'm sitting here because we are very convinced that we found with Intershop a great partner, both in terms of technology and the knowledge of the professionals as well. For all of you to have a brief idea what Toolineo is about. We are a pure online marketplace. That means that we do not sell by ourselves. The seller at Toolineo is always a specialist dealer. So today we are talking about 55 dealers, which really cater to industrial companies, to craftsmen locally, and we are basically their destined online channel. And that means certainly our core target group and the persona that we are thinking of for every decision is a craftsman, small B2B up to 35 employees, and basically anything that the customer needs is right to be offered on Toolineo. And certainly that includes tools, workwear, screws, etc. And paper, pencils and co certainly are then some of assortments. The ambition that we have is to really specialize on this one category. That stems a bit as well from our background. Our mother company is a big conglomerate in Germany and Europe, EDE. where all these specialist dealers are summed up. And we've been operative for 7 years now. Have about 800,000 SKU today. And we are working together with about 100 brands to market their brand. When later on we go into the IT architecture, what is special about our marketplace model, the dealer always sells to the customer. At the same time, the brands are very important stakeholders for us as well, because they have the marketing knowledge, they have the brand knowledge. They are basically the brands that the customer in the end is interested in. So in the end, both stakeholders are very important to us. And customer-wise, our clear focus and target customer is craftsmen up to 35 employees. But then certainly in the online world, anybody is allowed and welcome to buy. So that includes B2C, that includes institutions, and that includes industry as well. Toolineo role then certainly is marketing, UX, IT, and definition and management of all standard processes, such that they work for the customer, and at the same time, especially the dealers are able to fulfill them with the right expectations. So as I said, Toolineo is 7 years old, and last winter we have decided to do a full IT replatforming. We are doing that on the basis of Intershop, and at the same time with the professional service organization of Intershop. Certainly all of you will know how complex in the end a marketplace landscape is. That means that on the right you see the core systems that we use from the Intershop side, which are the standard front end, ICM, IOM, and Spark, the search solution. And then certainly what we need to build at the same time together are the marketplace specialties. So anything concerning merchant services, offers, merchant front end, and so on. Then certainly payment service provider integration is a key. And then anything that provides the different systems in the landscape with product data. Certainly all of you will know that in the end there will be about 20-25 more smaller systems. But these are the big systems that we built together. We built them from scratch. That was a big discussion, certainly, which we had internally. Because in the end it means that currently we are doing both, running an online marketplace and building it. And certainly for you it will be interesting, why did we decide that? Our current marketplace is working very well in a lot of parameters, but we are in a growth phase. If I say we have 800,000 SKU today, in the system we have 1.2 million. We have a strong growth rate of that, and basically we'll certainly reach 2, 3, 4, 5 million in the foreseeable future. If you then combine that with merchants and offers, it means that very quickly you reach a magnitude of offers, and therefore everything that is interfaces, that is APIs and so on, throughput and bandwidth need to be good enough. Therefore that is one very important fact for us to further scale the business. On top of that, we were very convinced by the functions of the different systems, such like customer account and so on, especially for the B2B sector. And then certainly for the future, for us it is the switch to cloud, which is certainly nothing that is required per se, but certainly we do expect quicker development cycles for ourselves, as well as certainly then benefiting from the Intershop deployments in the future. and with a motivated and knowledgeable team. Certainly it's something where we believe that really creating the future with a very strong IT backbone and a good development in the next 5 years is something which should really enable us to reach the scale-up phase and to grow a lot quicker. So in the end, to just sum it up very easily, we have been growing over the last years on a continuous basis. Corona certainly gave us a boost. Luckily, we've managed to succeed that volume once again last year. And with a very clear business plan on what we need to do to fulfill the customer needs even better. We have a very ambitious growth plan for the next 5 years. Know exactly what are the things that the customer expects. And the match with the Intershop functionality was very convincing. Therefore, I hope that gives you a bit of insights. The project is certainly still running. So maybe next year or year after, we can then present results.
Thank you, Hendrik, for explaining the Toolineo case. We are going to the expert talk. Peter and Thomas from Intershop are here to tell you more about the Intershop platform, and I would like to hand over to Peter.
Yeah, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me. Thank you all for providing this really relevant info on all those platforms. And I really have to say it's already amazing to see what our clients and our partners have already achieved with all those platforms with Intershop technology, and we are really proud of this situation. So coming to Intershop, how does Intershop sees the situation here? How do we support all these models? So first of all, we could say that we confirm what also Forrester is saying. So all kinds of companies of every sector will and can participate in the platform economy. Yeah, it's on the one side in terms of industry, that means be it food or retail, machinery, pharmaceutical, medicine, all kind of companies in this sector, but as well on the other side also from let's say a value chain perspective, as we see it here in terms of distribution, production or supply chain. And I brought some more examples also from our clients where we did some concepts which also are a great fit. This is, for example, here Landgard. They are a distributor of fresh products. That means, in this case, from flowers and vegetables. They are doing a concept for a kind of marketplace. Then we have another direction, which is the BASF. Of course, everybody knows this company, which is a producer, tries to establish a marketplace. And we have Panalpina, which is also a very exciting example because these guys are coming out of the supply chain, out of the logistic, but also trying to establish a marketplace in that case with perishables. Yeah. So these are all companies that somehow are under a certain pressure of doing at least a kind of platform or marketplace systems. If they would hesitate, and of course these are just examples, if they would hesitate, some other, let's say, players would do it. Yeah, and we see it, of course, with Amazon and Alibaba. They are there and with high speed, let's say, grabbing all the market share that's lying out there. Yeah. So that leads us from concepts and strategies to functionalities. When we talk about technology, when we talk about Intershop, it's always at the end about functionalities. And here we have established an overview, what we think, what we need in order to run, operate a marketplace platform. Yeah, we see here the seller onboarding, which is an important part. We see the product management. We see the order management. We see back office management functionalities. and also business configuration. These are all things that we need, let's say, in one or the other form when operating a marketplace. And this leads us to a very, in our eyes, at least in a very interesting question. Is there a supplier or is there a solution that fulfills all those requirements? Or in other words, is there a solution in the sense of does one size fits all? And this is a question where I would like to hand over to my colleague Thomas in order to explain a little bit more out of the Intershop perspective how we support these models from a functional perspective.
Thank you, Peter. I would like to introduce different models we offer based on a platform model. This is introduced in this case from the Harvard Business Review, and since every marketplace project or pitch is really specific to the customer case and it's not so standardized, I would like to introduce the different actors here. So of course, the platform has an owner, provides services, it's connected with a producer, and it's connected to consumers. So this I would like to transfer a little bit into the Intershop world. So what we see here now is the Intershop commerce platform. It has, as an owner, acts Intershop and the client, who has the intellectual properties on the solution. The provider are the services we have implemented and which provide the value add to the system. The producer can be very different, and there is a big distinction. It can be sellers which get onboarded, it can be different suppliers, physical store locations, drop shipment providers. So there we see all the variations in the market. From the consumer side, it's a bit more sorted out. So we in B2C, we have the simple customers. In the B2B world, we have companies with multiple actors, users, and so on. But also IoT-enabled devices play a bigger role already now, and in the future that will grow drastically, I assume. So customers who are implementing it or have implemented it are, for example, Vucato from the Word Group, Toolineo we just heard about. Sonami is also an ongoing project, and a second model of it, it's the multi-brand, multi-region scenario I would like to discuss. This is where currently most of our customers and prospects we talk to are in. So either one brand will be rolled out in many regions, or maybe additional brands get onboarded and they get handled by a single service of that Intershop commerce platform. So here we see customers like Sönneken and EDE who have different clients which have a shared portfolio of products, but also can bring in their own sortiments, and have mostly B2B customers. Dover has many brands which get independent brands which get onboarded on the platform and have different customer experience. And a third case is the integration into large existing marketplaces. Known samples for that is of course Amazon, eBay. Of course, in a project, each of them can be separately integrated, but by service providers like aggregators, like Channel Engine. Multiple marketplaces can be addressed at the same time. Yeah. Those business models can be also combined with the previous we have seen. And the last case I would like to introduce, as previously seen in the Musgrave sample, is that on the producer side, we have an aggregation via a specific layer. As we have seen with Musgrave, Miracle is used to onboard the different sellers. And within the Elephant project, for example, we have used VTEX. And together with our order management module, we handle the connection to different seller and catalog provider. Okay, that's it pretty much. And I would like to hand over to Peter again.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. I think we have one slide left as a kind of finish here. Mastering Intershop to leverage the platform economy and expand your reach. We have, let's say, a deep dive also on Thursday, where I'm happy to invite everybody who is invited. What we will do, or who is interested, what we will do here is we will translate the business needs of platforms into the world of Intershop functionality. So this will be really interesting. And that's it so far from my side.
Thank you all, and thanks all for participating in this session. I would like to thank all of the speakers in this session. I think it was a great session with many insights around platforms, interesting use cases, and a lot of insights in the Intershop platform. Don't forget to attend the deep dive, as Peter already mentioned. Peter and Thomas will be there to answer any additional questions about the Intershop platform. And don't forget to attend on the session 3 on October 10th. It will be about Chapter 2, Enhancing B2B e-commerce with highly personalized user experiences. In the coming period, we would like to inform you with all kind of information that has to do with personalization. So keep an eye on the LinkedIn of Intershop, keep an eye on the portal, and I hope to see you all on October the 10th in session 3.
Microphone is